Now, when pure energy, the primal expression of life that we will call the essential essence, coagulates, it transforms into what would be called, in human terms, matter. Because these coagulations are vibrating or vacillating at a significant speed, the particles constantly move. They not only vibrate or rotate in place, they also move through space propelled by the energy of their spin, not unlike a top moving across a table as it spins. These countless particles can move so fast in relative terms that they appear to be neither here nor there, but everywhere at once, thus creating the illusion of solidity, or what you would call that which is physical. You can watch the blades of a fan or the spokes of a bicycle wheel producing exactly the same illusion, the illusion of solidity.
I got it. So you're saying that by simply reducing the vibratory frequency or speed of their essential essence, highly evolved beings from another dimension desolidify or disembody.
That's right. All they have done is dramatically slow the spin of their energy particles, thus expanding the time it takes for those particles to get from one point to another in their vibratory pattern. You suddenly see the space between the particles, even as you would see the space between the spokes of a bicycle wheel if the power that's spinning it is turned down. By the way, take a look at the universe or any of its galaxies from a great enough distance, and all you will see is a big wheel.
Whoa.
Now, should the space between the spokes of a bicycle wheel be sufficiently enormous, as it would feel to you if you were the size of a microbe and your perspective was therefore myopic, all you would see for a very long time, until the next spoke of the wheel came by, is empty space. In effect, while you are waiting and watching for the next spoke, the solidity will appear to have disappeared. What you do not know is that it was never there to begin with. It was merely the speed of the spokes moving past your line of sight that created the illusion of solidity. When a highly evolved being dephysicalizes, the time between the Hebb's energy cycles is so long in relative terms that the space between its vacillations is, also in relative terms, enormous, and what once appeared to others as a solid physical form no longer has that appearance. The entity seems to have disappeared, as it cannot be seen in its entirety unless viewed from a huge, to you unfathomable, distance. The formula is simple. Time plus space equals appearance. If you could stand back far enough from the entire universe and the universe of universes, you would see the body of God.
So what physicists are now conjecturing about is true? There's more than one universe?
Yes, the cosmos is a multiverse, not a universe.
So to use a well-worn turn of phrase, we don't know the half of it.
To be more accurate and perhaps coin a new phrase, you don't know the 100th of it. But highly evolved beings from another dimension understand the metaphysics of existence perfectly, and therefore are clear that they neither exist nor cease to exist simply because of the frequency rate of their energetic vibration. They merely appear to be or not to be physical.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
Precisely. Hebbs know that they exist always and forever as vibratory individuations of the essential essence, and that all they are doing is regulating the fluctuations of their energy, altering their vacillations to become seen or not seen, visible or not visible, what you would call physical or non-physical, as it suits their purpose.
How simple. They never really disembody or embody, they simply always are. They always are both. And they fill more or less space, in a sense, expanding or contracting themselves by merely altering the speed of their energetic vibration. How simple. Mm-hmm. And God is so huge. I mean, you're so big because of your energetic vibration that you can't be seen at all. That doesn't mean that you're not there. It just means you're so expanded that the space between your energy particles makes you invisible.
Brilliant. You got it.
Whoa.
A metaphysical explanation of God.
Yippee.
You and everything are the energy particles of God. And the huge space between the giant spinning particles of the cosmos is mirrored in the huge space in relative terms between the particles of which you are comprised. You do understand, yes, that if you look at your own body underneath enormous magnification, what you will see is exactly what you see when you look up at the night sky. You would see that both you and the cosmos are 99% space. Do you imagine the similarity to be a coincidence? If you took the air out of every person on Earth and left only their energy particles, the entire human race would fit into a child's marble.
What?
It's true.
This is mind-boggling.
And very helpful to understand. Most humans think of themselves as what they see and experience when their energy particles are moving at top speed. You think you are a body rather than a soul creating a body through a simple metaphysical manipulation. When a person's energy particles are moving at top speed, you say that person is living. And when their energy is moving at a very slow speed, you say they have died. Yet death does not exist. You never cease to be, you simply change form. Actually, when you die, you become more expansive.
So I never dephysicalize. I mean, I'm always a conglomeration of energy particles, and I never cease to be that. That's what you mean when you say that death does not exist. Whether I'm physical or metaphysical is simply a matter of how expanded is the time that it takes for the particles I am to spin, of how far apart on the space-time continuum my particles are. And this is simply a function of the speed at which they rotate and thus move around each other.
You see? You asked if you could understand in layman's terms all of this, and I said yes, and you have.
But my whole body continues to exist in physicality when the soul departs. It's either buried or cremated or in some other way disposed of, but it doesn't just disappear. My body just doesn't go away.
No, it simply ceases to exist in its present physical form. Eventually, it dissipates.
But it seems to me that it's more integrated with the planet. In that case, my so-called dead body eventually decomposes and becomes part of the larger composition of the earth in which it's buried. Or if it was cremated, changes form instantly into the dust of which the earth and the cosmos is made, but it doesn't disintegrate.
That is correct. The body that you have does not disintegrate, it reintegrates. It eventually becomes so fully integrated with the physicality around it that it, ironically, seems to disappear. It actually has not disappeared at all, but taken on a new appearance. It now appears to be melded into or one with the stuff of which everything is made.
Ah, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Exactly. And the particles are then gathered by the soul that inhabited that body and reunited with the mind and the spirit to become, once again, the three-part self. This is the resurrection of the body, of which much has been written.
But that doesn't happen instantly as it does with Hebs. That's my point. This process takes time.
If you look at it within the framework of that illusion, yes. But looked at from another vantage point, the viewpoint of the soul when in metaphysical form, it's happening all at once. The energetic expressions that you call your body and your mind travel with the soul, indeed are parts of the soul, through all eternity. What your mind, in its limited understanding, calls body and mind are merely aspects of the soul's energy, vibrating at frequencies that cause them to be experienced and expressed in particular ways. You are a three-part being, body, mind, and spirit, and you never ever are anything less or anything else. As you move from the metaphysical to the physical and back again, you simply disintegrate and reintegrate these aspects of who you are. To help you understand how such a thing is possible, think of what you call white light. This is actually a combination of lights of different wavelengths in the electromagnetic spectrum. If you send white light through a dispersive prism, you will see its spectral colors, which are its constituent parts. Now think of movement into physicality as movement through a dispersive prism in ultimate reality. When the soul passes through the prism into physicality, it breaks into its constituent parts, body, mind, and spirit. When it passes back through the prism the other way, or as humans put it, when you pass away, the soul becomes one element again. That one element is you.
Chapter 28.
I find myself wanting to insist that all of these things, all of this process that you've just explained so well to me, requires time and space for it to take place. And you keep saying that there's no such thing as time and space. I'm trying to reconcile this.
I see that you really want to get into the cosmology of life deeply.
Sorry. It's as I've said before. I guess I just can't understand or accept any of this unless I can accept and understand all of it.
That's okay. That's good. Keep being skeptical. You're doing it on behalf of many of your brothers and sisters. This is about awakening the species. While I've explained much of this to you before, some may be coming to this for the first time, and others, like you, may have stored in the farthest reaches of their mind and forgotten what I've said to you before. So let's get into it at least briefly here, and if you want more detail, you can go back into our previous dialogues and reread them.
Okay, because what I'm getting into now is that process by which both humans and even highly evolved beings in another dimension evolve, experiencing themselves at higher and higher levels. That seems to require time, so yes, I do need a refresher on this, and I think it will help me as a practical matter in the living of my own life.
It can, and will, yes.
So are you saying that even Hebs live within what you describe as the illusion of time?
They do indeed. The difference is, they know it is an illusion. And so they focus on the illusion intermittently, as described a bit earlier, allowing them to use it for the purpose at hand.
This is beginning to get past me a bit. I'm starting to go under here. I mean, this feels like I'm over my head.
Let's use an example that can get you out of deep water. Think of a DVD of your favorite movie. The whole story is there on the disc, is it not?
Yes.
But you don't watch it all at once. You focus the laser on the data one bit at a time, then the next, then the next, then the next, making it seem very much as if the data is presenting itself sequentially, even though you know better. You know it's present all at once. All the data is there, all the time. You're simply not looking at it all at once. This allows your mind to interpret and integrate the data of the whole bit by bit, thus making sequential living possible.
You know, you've given me this illustration before, and I've forgotten all about it. Thanks for bringing it up to my awareness again. What a great analogy. I think I'm above water again.
Good. So you are beginning to understand the illusion. But most humans do not know that time and space are illusory, and thus imagine that they are constricted by them and must obey the laws of time and space. It is like anything in life, really. When you know the rules, you can disobey them, or you can use them to produce whatever effect you wish. This is what I do on a grand scale, of course, and this is what any being who acts like God does as well.
So are you suggesting, seriously, that we ignore the laws of time and space? Isn't that rather like suggesting to a person who entertains delusions of grandeur to go ahead and jump out of an airplane without a parachute because he can just ignore the laws of gravity and can fly?
I'm not suggesting that you ignore any of the laws of the universe as you understand them. I'm suggesting that you use them.
But how do we use them? How? How would the average person even know that they are illusions? They sure seem real enough to us.
They're supposed to. That's the whole point of them. They were created to produce a contextual field within which you could express and experience yourself at the highest level, and then the next highest level, and the next, and so on through all of your life, and all of your lives.
But my two questions still stand. How do we use these illusions? And, excuse me, but how can we even know they are illusions? Personally, I love the DVD analogy, but is there any way that this can be proven?
You best use the illusions by understanding and realizing that time and space are not what they seem, and that you can react and respond to them in a variety of ways to produce a variety of experiences. For instance, have you ever noticed that time flies while you're having fun? Conversely, have you ever noticed that 3 weeks can seem like 3 months when you're waiting for something special or important?
Yes, and I've noticed that nothing makes me more productive than the last minute.
That's right. You can accomplish more in 4 hours than you might normally do in 2 days when it's the last 4 hours you have.